Hello and welcome to the second video in the Gaining IT Experience Without an IT Job course. In this video we will cover the download and install of Windows Server 2019. The first thing we'll need to do is go on over to our web browser and search for Windows Server 2019 eval. And we'll go ahead and click on the evaluation link here. I want to go ahead and click the ISO image here and then continue. Go ahead and fill out the form. You'll want to go ahead and fill the form out and select your language. And as you can see, it provides a cryptic looking string as the download file. We'll just go ahead and give that some time to complete. If you find this content useful, please go ahead and consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to be notified when we release new videos for this course or other series that we're working on, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon. Okay, now that we have the file downloaded and VirtualBox installed, go ahead and go on over to VirtualBox and go to the new option. We'll go ahead and give our new machine a name, WinServe 2019. Then we'll select our version. The others can stay as default. Here we'll want to go ahead and provide some RAM for the machine. General rule of thumb is to not give more than 25 to 60% of the host machine's resources for any one or the combination of virtual machines. Here we'll select the hard disk type. We'll just go ahead and select VHD. Here we'll select dynamically allocated physical hard disk. That means it won't fill up all of the space that we allocate right away. It'll just fill up what is needed. So here we'll just go ahead and select a 50 gig disk should be fine. And now that we have our VM created, we can go on into the settings and come on over to the storage settings and click on our CD here. On the right hand side, we want to go ahead and click on the little CD icon. It'll give us a chance to choose our ISO file. As you can see, the one that we have here is populated. If yours isn't, you can just choose a disk file here and then navigate to where it is on disk. Happen to be in the downloads here, but we'll go ahead and select it and open. Alright. Sometimes we have to come on in and mess with the network settings, but here for this situation, just as long as it's enabled and set to NAT, we should be all set. After we have those set up, we can come on up to the green arrow and click the start option. After that starts to load up, it'll bring up a console window and Windows should be starting to boot as if we had put a CD into the a physical device. Just a moment here for the window to pop on up so I can get it over. There we go. As you can see, Windows will start to load. The setup process will just take a moment. Go ahead and speed up through it. And when we get to this point, we can go ahead and select our default language and keyboard. And once we have those selected, we can click Next. And here we have an option at the bottom left to repair our computer if we had a existing installation that needed it, but we'll just select install now. Here we have the option to select from a couple of different choices for versions. We're just going to select the data center eval with a GUI. The other options either are standard evaluations or they don't have a GUI. Here we'll select and read the license terms. We'll go to custom install. Here's where we have an opportunity to select the disk that we created. If there was more than one disk here, we would want to make sure that we selected the right one and didn't risk overwriting any data on any other disks. But with the right disk selected, we'll go ahead and click next. And as long as there are no errors, go ahead and let the install continue. Or I should say, let the install get underway. No errors to start, so we'll go ahead and continue through this, pick it up after the next part of the install is completed. Okay, once Windows gets to this point, it will initiate at least one reboot, come back and start doing some extra services. We will go ahead and pick this up as soon as it is complete with those steps. Okay, once we get to the admin prompt for the password, I want to go ahead and add a pretty strong password. Testing it's not as important. However, if this were a production environment, we would definitely want to make sure that we had at least 20 character password with a mix of upper and lowercase numbers, special characters, spaces, and really just anything you can throw at it to make it as difficult as possible for some human or some machine to be able to figure out what it is. The humans and the machines are advancing in this area all the time, and even passwords that were safe a few years ago are not safe from these devices. So definitely something to be aware of there. So we'll enter a super secret password. After we enter our password, finalize the settings, and bring us to the login prompt. And once we get to the finalize settings stage, it'll take a few minutes here depending on the hardware. We'll go ahead and forward through this and pick it up after it's completed. Okay, once the reboots are completed, we can go ahead and log in with our administrator password we set not too long ago. In order to get to the, in order to insert a control alt delete, we'll go ahead and come on up to input and select keyboard. We'll select the insert control alt delete. There's also the host delete key that can do that. The host key in Windows is the right control. That might be the right command. This part could take a few minutes loading up and completing the setup. What we're going to do here, though, we'll go ahead and complete the setup, get into the system. And once Server Manager starts to load on up, we'll have completed our evaluation setup and be ready to move on to the next steps of installing Active Directory and completing some server hardening and best practices for our new server. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.